Okay, so hopefully for tonight I can then get started on the tiger tail. This might be a whole video in itself. Anyway, so this tiger tail, the rope is swollen. It's filled with water, mud. It doesn't really work that well. It doesn't retract anymore. So I'm gonna take this apart. Going to be probably cleaning this out, re-greasing it, resealing it, and adding the new rope that you kind of see here behind it, which is this. It's just another rope. Is it basically, long story short, this cap's got to come off, the rod's got to come out, the new rope's got to slide on through that loop right there, through there, and then it will track back up. So let's go ahead and start first by taking this off, and when you take this off, be sure to hold on to that or it will unspool. So while doing this, just, I guess you could just tell by the name there, but I'm still going to go ahead and put a mark on each and everything so everything lines back up, and go ahead and start taking off all these bolts. But you see this already? There's mud already coming out, mud and water. It's all in your spring right there. Okay, so after some finesse and trying to get this thing taken off, first of all you got a O-ring right here. That O-ring comes off, and this little tang right here in the center of that spring gets seated into this cutout of the shaft right there. So you're going to set it on there, and you're going to clock it to where that spring starts getting tension on it. And yeah, you can see all that crap and everything in there. That's straight mud, water. That's the factory grease right there. So we're going to pack this thing full. I don't really want to pack it full of grease because it's going to just attract mud and it's going to keep mud and everything in there and dirt. But yeah, I'm sure it's getting in through this bushing right here. This bushing's got some play, which is to be expected. Everyone that I've seen so far has got it. I don't think this thing is that old. I know it's get used a lot and it's constantly pulling, because when this thing unravels fully all the way, all you're doing is pushing on that rod against that bushing and that plate, so it's going to wear out eventually. So we're going to clean this all up, and now we're going to pound out the shaft right here this way, out towards this way, and then we'll be able to get the old rope off. And here's an obvious reason as to why like all that mud and sand gets in here and this thing starts to not really retract and suck in as well, because all this sand, that is all dirt right there. And that's straight dirt. Anyway, so I'm going to take this part because I don't want to unravel that, although this thing doesn't have tension on it right now. So if it pops out, it shouldn't completely unwind. Yeah, actually, I guess it will. Anyway, so this is going to get taken, and I'm going to put this in my parts washer and my ultrasonic cleaner to really get in and out of these grooves, because I could count every one of these laps and then that's how much it needs to be preset, but this thing needs to be spinning freely. Okay, so I cut the old rope out of there just to make it a little bit easier to work with. You take it from this side and you pound it out through, and this shaft will then finally pull out. It's going to be dirty. I'm going to wire wheel this up a little bit, grease all these points right here. And your drum is also keyed, so this is keyed and that's keyed obviously. So when you put it back in, slide it in, and then you're going to put the end of your rope through there, slide it back through, press it back in, and we'll reverse the procedure. Try to clean this bushing up right here. That is actually a seal right there. I'm going to grease that up. Might actually get in touch with them, see if I can get a new seal for that, or it might be pretty generic. Just got to go to your bearing supply store or something. So I'm going to clean all this up and we'll be ready for some reassembly. One other thing I just noticed was right here, this thing is all kind of worn out, cut out, little crack there, so I'm going to take and smooth all this out. That's from and it spins out, the rope gets, actually it's going to be that way, the rope tension is constantly hitting right here and getting pulled out, so it's like that, and you can actually see it right there on the rope from hitting that and wearing that slowly away. So I'm going to actually flip this drum because I don't see any directional. There might be, but I'll let you know if it is. Flip that, smooth all that down, and just give it another chance at life, I guess. Cleaned up. The biggest thing I noticed is it looks like these bushings right here can be swapped out, because what it is there's a little bit of play right there. Obviously from wear and tear. I mean, that's metal to metal. But so I'm not going to put grease on that just because it's going to attract dirt and almost act as like a sandpaper. Put some there though, because that, like I said, there is that seal on this side. Also, this is what it gets pressed into. It kind of bevels down there, so that's going to get put in like that. I'm going to slide this in, and then it's just going to be pounded in. Once you find that keyway, slide in from there. Now we're going to install the rope. Okay, so once you got some grease on the shaft here and you push it in there to seal up your seal there, just add like I said, a very tiny amount of grease, trying to shove it down into these the spring here, and grease up your O-ring lip, because the thing that kind of sucks about it is that you put it on there and you got to crank it, and there's not really enough room to get these out. You can, if you want to bend out your little drum here or some, and then put one in one at a time, but it's not going to be easy once you got so much spring tension on this setup here. You put it on there, you line it up where this is facing upwards, and then you give it 4 rotations. So like I said, he wants to do it a little bit tighter supposedly, so we're going to try out, I think I'm going to go 5, maybe 5 or 6 or so, but it's just going to take a minute and work with it and don't let go. But yeah, that tang right there lines up with that cutout. Alright, so as you can see though, that takes a while just to get everything seated and put back together right. So what's really nice about this tiger tail though is that everything is serviceable. You can get the bushings, which we are going to do the bushings, the rod, probably the drum, and that seal next go around. But it's not that bad yet. So yeah, we're just going to run it the way it is, and it's got plenty of tension on there now. Everything retracts fine. Retracts good, retracts tough. So tiger tail is done, rebuilt, and you guys can see it in plenty more videos coming up.